Greetings friends, my name is Pavlo Štermach and now we will dive into the top news of this day. Ukraine needs to wait a little longer to launch a counteroffensive. The military is waiting for promised weapons from the allies. It was stated by President himself. He described combat brigades, some of which were trained by NATO countries, as being ready, but said the army still needed some things, including armored vehicles that were arriving in batches.
With what we already have, we can go forward and I think be successful. But we'd lose a lot of people. I think that's unacceptable. So we need to wait. We still need a bit more time. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, president of Ukraine, in an interview with BBC.
Even last week, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, during a trip to the Netherlands, said that he is confident of achieving the result of Ukraine's counteroffensive, although no one can guarantee 100% success. But the Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Oleksiy Reznikov, said that the world has inflated expectations of the future Ukrainian counteroffensive. According to Reznikov, most people are waiting for something grandiose, but this can lead to emotional disappointment. He says that Ukraine's previous success means that Ukraine partners expect success again. At the same time, the Russian mass media began to report that the offensive had already begun, referring to the head of PMC Wagner, Yevgeny Prigozhin. Yes, the same one who said that there is not enough ammunition in Russia, and if they do not provide him with it, then on May the 10th, which was yesterday, if anyone has forgotten, his mercenaries will leave Bakhmut. As we can see, they did not leave Bakhmut, although there are heavy battles going on there, which Ukrainian mass media and the military are talking about.
Thanks to the well-thought-out defense in the Bakhmut direction, we receive the results of the effective actions of our units, including we conduct effective counterattacks. In some areas of the front, the enemy could not resist the onslaught of Ukrainian defenders and retreat to a distance of up to 2 kilometers. Alexander Syrsky, the commander of the ground force of Ukraine, in Telegram.
I would remind you that yesterday, due to the difficult operational situation on the battlefield, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, Valery Zaluzhny, was unable to join the meeting of the NATO Military Committee. And I would like to talk further about the meeting of the NATO Military Committee that took place yesterday. The generals discussed the development of regional plans and a new model of NATO's armed forces, necessary for the formation of a larger number of troops on high alert throughout the alliance. For example, NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg announced the need to create a new security system on the planet and described the priority directions for the alliance.
We must redouble our efforts to keep our 1 billion citizens safe and to uphold the rules-based international order. High-intensity warfare is back in Europe. Global competition is rising. Authoritarian regimes are challenging our values, interests and security, and other threats are also multiplying, from terrorists to cyber attacks, from nuclear proliferation to climate change. So we need to step up for this new era of strategic competition, and NATO is rising to the challenge. Jens Stoltenberg, Secretary-General of NATO.
According to the head of the NATO Military Committee, Admiral Rob Boyer, the members of the alliance want to be prepared for the fact that a conflict may arise at any moment. NATO military leadership has been monitoring Russia's increasingly aggressive behavior for years. We have carried out the largest increase in collective defense since the Cold War, but this work is not yet complete, said Rob Boyer. He added that the world has changed a lot over the past year, and the war against Ukraine will become a war of quantity and quality.
And I think that is what we will see now, is that the Russians will have to focus on quantity, larger number of conscripts and mobilized people, not well trained, older material, but large numbers, and not as precise and not as good as the newer ones, and that the Ukrainians focus on quality with Western weapon systems and Western training.
Ukraine has shown success on the battlefield, and there are many examples of this. One of the last, the US Department of Defense has confirmed that the Ukrainians shot down a Russian hypersonic Kinzhal or dagger missile. The Ukrainian military did this with the help of the American Patriot air defense system. In August 2002, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu argued that the dagger or kinzhal could not be detected or intercepted. The EU has delivered more than 1,000 missiles to Kyiv since February as part of a program to supply Ukraine with ammunition. This was stated by the head of European diplomacy, Josep Borrell, during the European Defense and Security Summit. He did not specify what types of missiles he was talking about, but he said that this is not enough, because Ukraine needs to prepare more, it needs more weapons, it needs more opportunities, and we must provide them.
I think today I can already say, look, we immediately started issuing statements, condemnation, concerns, and suddenly remember that I was talking with my staff and I said, look, we have a fund, and with this fund we provide arms to partners all around the world to train their troops. In Sahel, in Mozambique, well, at that time Mozambique was still not there, but why cannot do the same thing for Ukraine? Oh, because Ukraine is at war. Exactly for that, because Ukraine is at war. And I remember my staff to make a proposal, and they came with a proposal of providing 50 million euros. I said, are you joking or what? And immediately we took a decision of a first tranche of 500 million. And today we are close to 6,000 million. And altogether, member states plus European Union institutions, we should be about 16 billion euros of support to Ukraine.
On March 20, 2023, the heads of the foreign and defense ministers on the EU countries reached an agreement on the transfer of artillery shells from existing stocks to Ukraine, as well as on increasing military production in the European Union to ensure such supplies. On April 13th, the EU Council implemented the first part of the agreement and approved the amount of 1 billion euros within the framework of the European Peace Fund to support the armed forces of Ukraine. With today's decision, we put into effect the first part of the historic agreement reached by EU leaders to support the immediate delivery of 1 billion euros worth of artillery ammunition to the Ukrainian armed forces, Borrell said at the time.
Well, I'm coming from Spain. In Spain I visited the Ukrainian soldiers being trained. I visited also the Ukrainian wounded soldiers being in our hospitals. The only thing I can say is the same thing that I said here, that Ukraine deserves our support, and we will continue supporting your battle for freedom as much as we can, as much as needed. We are all admired by your courage, but you don't need applause, you need support.
Let me remind you that on Friday the EU Council approved the allocation of 1 billion euros, which will be used to purchase artillery shells and missiles for the Ukrainian armed forces. With this, we conclude our today's video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for future videos. Subscribe to UATV English and goodbye.